Hello and welcome back to Just Your Normal Misfit. I'm Ann Thomas, and every month on this podcast, we explore stories of differences, resilience, and inclusion in a world that isn't built for it. Today, I am joined in by someone who brings both a professional lens as a journalist and editor, and a deeply personal one as a mother. Ajita Shashidhar is the national editor of Fortune India. She's also the mother of two young boys, the younger of whom is on the autism spectrum. In our conversation today, we plan to talk about raising young men, especially a neurodivergent child and a neurotypical, the emotional toll of navigating the advocacy role as well as a professional role in a world like ours. We talk about the emotional labor of being the middle person between the autistic adolescent and the world around, the exhaustion of constant advocacy, and most important, why it is important for women uh, to keep their professional life on, no matter how challenging it could be or how difficult it seems today, how important it is for them to not give up on their careers, and how is it to navigate that balance between home, professional life, mothering, and all the relationships outside. Is there a balance possible? To understand that, we are speaking once again to Ajita Shashidhar. It's lovely to have you here today, Ajita. Thank you so much for coming on JYNM to share your experiences.
Thank you, Anne.
Uh,
Thank you for having me.
could you please tell us about your life, your journey, how you've managed to keep your professional life intact through the ups and downs of life? I think that's where we would like to start.
In fact, my professional life has helped me to maintain my sanity. Um, so I'm a proud mother of a 21-year-old young adult with autism. And I would like to believe that I have had a fairly successful run in mainstreaming him because when it was detected way back in 2006, I myself didn't understand what autism was. But from day one, I decided that I'm going to go full hog and I'm going to do everything to give him a normal life. So that's what was my intent. And I carried on that path. But it was not an easy journey. It was very stressful. And since there was so much of ignorance around neurodiversity at that point of time, people would give me all kinds of advices and it was getting on to me. And so one of his therapists, in fact, told me never quit your job, otherwise you'll go mad. Because the immediate thought as a woman, as a caregiver, as a mother, was to give up my job, give up my career, and give my full time to my son. And I think that was the best advice I got of not giving up my career. And I was just very lucky. I was very open about it. I never looked at it as a stigma. I was very open about it and I talked about it to people. And because I talked about it with people, I got a lot of help. I got to know about many ways of dealing with it. And even at work, initial years, I did have to take a work from home, but I always told my leaders that I'm taking a work from home, but that doesn't mean that I will not do what I'm supposed to be doing. I'll give my 100%, but I need to also give time to my son. So, and I was just plain lucky. And I've always been a journalist, and I managed to get editors who were extremely, extremely supportive. They never stopped me from, I mean, there would be in middle of a meeting, I'll just get a call and I would have to run home and I was allowed to do it. But I also was very particular that I didn't want sympathy from anyone. So I gave my 100% to my work. And yeah, and I think my work speaks for it. So
I don't think it'll be 100%. I feel it's almost 200% when
thank
you're
you.
trying to juggle so many things
Yeah,
together. Yeah,
thank you.
it takes a lot. You're also a mother of a neurotypical boy, and this curve, rather, into the family life happened later. How prepared were you for this?
I wasn't. So I was always told one piece of advice that I got is to always treat my neurodiverse son similar to what I would with my neurotypical son. So that was the advice I followed. And me and my husband, we took it really seriously, and we followed that. And that kind of, yeah, helped us to have, even then, despite that, I must admit that I was a little more attentive towards my neurodivergent son. And there have been instances where I may have kind of ignored the needs of my neurotypical son. But I did it very well. I mean, initial years was not a problem at all. So it was quite okay. My neurotypical son does say that, at times complain that I may have not done as much for him as I have done for the younger thing. But I'm sure over the years he will understand where I was coming from. But I must say that my neurotypical son always was very, very empathetic towards his brother. And in fact, in his initial years, all his friends would come and play with Anshul, because Anshul never had friends. People could not relate to him. Till 10th, actually, I never had to, till my older boy passed out grade 10, I never had to make an effort to get play dates, organize play dates for my younger one, because his friends would come, they would play for his birthdays. Even his friends would come. It was after that the challenge began, because they all went their own way and I can't force them to come and play. So after that, getting him to be in a social setup became a challenge, because obviously my elder son had to, he went ahead with his life and it was not fair to kind of pull him back. But whenever he was around, he would take him for movies, he would do everything. But now it is kind of, the neurodivergent son he's hit adolescence, he's 21. So he wants to have his own normal, and he really doesn't want to interact with, he wants to make a new set of friends, he is craving to socialize, he doesn't want to be with us as much. And I don't blame him for it. I think typically even a neurotypical person does that. So yeah, so we're
Yeah.
dealing with that.
Yeah. Constant markers of children growing up and wanting to move from the bubble, from under the care of the parents, neurotypical or neurodivergent. I think we've all done it. We've all wanted more from life, and it's only fair for them to ask for that. Having to choose between situations or circumstances, specifically coming from the field of journalism and your work itself, you've traveled to all the small cities, you've done a lot of research based work. It's not easy for a woman to do it as is. And then a parent of a neurotypical child and a neurodivergent child, all the more difficult balancing all that. How have you managed it? Because we keep telling women to do it all. But the question I really want to know is how do we do that?
If I were to just give you my example, I was just plain lucky. I got the best of support. My son, initial years, he had, not initial years, a great part of his life, right from when he entered grade 3. So there was this lady called Payal Shah, who is a special educator, and she came into his life, and she was literally family. She became family, and each time I would travel, each time I was at work in a meeting, not able to come, she would take charge. And the school, so he went to a school called Billabong High in Santa Cruz, Mumbai. The teachers were also exceptionally supportive. None of them, it was a learning for all of us. They also did not understand what neurodiversity was. And as we went on, stayed on the course, we all learned together. So they really supported me. And then again, at home, of course, having a supportive husband helps a lot, and supportive family helps a lot. And even in terms of domestic help, I got someone who really kind of helped me out in this journey. She was there for my son all the time, and she still is. So that makes life easier. So, and at work also, my editors, as I said, I mean, they never stopped me from doing what I wanted to do. They always allowed me to do what I wanted to do in as per my convenience. So all that helped a lot. So getting the right kind of support, I think, hugely makes a difference. If you don't get that support from your family and peers, it becomes difficult. And I was just lucky that I got it.
We always think that we are lucky. I think we also navigate and build that lives as women. It takes a lot of effort to get the right resources who come in at the right point of time to support and create those structures for us to keep moving on. And that's what I'm hearing from you, that having those support structures is very important, and having a supportive family who understands and is with you is very important. So, you've done a lot of work also in terms of parity and the role of women, especially in the workplace. So, I'm just thinking of women who are not as lucky, and how are we trying to create those support structures that you would ask professionals to create, to build a more supportive workspace for women or mothers? How do we do that? What has your learnings been?
I think it always helps to be transparent, to go and tell your co-workers, your leaders that, yeah, I'm going through this challenge and I need your help. I need your support. Being transparent, I think, has always helped for me. I always went and openly told them that what I'm going through as a parent. I openly discussed with them about, because again, just as I was ignorant initially, they're also ignorant. Many of them don't know what autism is. I always believed in educating them. So I would go and talk to them all the time. And that somehow really came in. There have been difficult circumstances when Anshul has got into trouble. We'll come to that maybe sometime today or sometime later. And I would have to run, and my husband would be traveling. My colleagues would tell me that, I'll come with you, we'll come with you. So I always got that support, and I got fabulous support. So, and I'm really grateful to everyone at home and at my workplace. And also, it also depends. I am also very open. I go and talk to everyone. I'm very friendly and I'm very transparent with people. So I think that somewhere also helps. My personality also has.
Tell us about Anshul's journey from, you said 21-year-old,
He's 21 now.
graduation. Yeah, graduation's done, probably going into master's now,
Yeah,
or
he's
has
doing his
started the
already into
program.
masters. He started.
Yes. Tell us about that. It couldn't have been easy.
Yes, it actually, and that is exactly what I wanted to talk about, because a lot has been talked about around childhood autism and how to deal with parents, about acceptance. But when your child hits adolescence, the challenge is equally big, and if not bigger, I may say. So that is when they is able to understand everything. It becomes really difficult for that person. They come to know that they are different from others, and when they come to know, it becomes they want to be like others. And dealing with that, because the others don't understand them, they just don't understand them, so they make fun of them, they get bullied and all of that. So it becomes very difficult. So that is one level in terms of emotional well-being. The other one is education. So let me start with education first. So as I told you, in Billabong High, Anshul was mainstreamed, and they did a fabulous job. So from kindergarten to grade 12, he was with them. After that, again, I didn't want to send him to for a vocational course, because he's good at academics, he's very good at numbers, very good at math and things like that. So we wanted to be academically strong, but how do we get him into colleges? That's where the challenge came. And though colleges now are recognizing special needs, at least in the forms when you fill up, they will ask you whether you're neurodivergent, whether you have physical disabilities. You have to tick in the box, but it's mere tick in the box. In terms of including them, nobody understands. So people don't even understand the difference between autism and learning disabilities. So they kind of equate it under one umbrella, and they say person with learning disability, and they give you the support that they would give a person with learning disability. So they will just give the person a writer. So I had to go and educate them. I had to tell them, my son doesn't need a writer. My son needs a prompter, because a person with autism has comprehension issues. So they said, how can we give a prompter? We can't tell them answers. I said, no, I'm not asking you to tell answers. Just little bit explain the question to him. So nobody understood that. So though his marks were on his side, but we could not get into most colleges in Mumbai. That's where we live. And there was only one college. Somebody told me, go and try St. Xavier's Mumbai. because they have XRCVC, wherein they have been including people with visual disabilities for a very long time. So I went there and I told them, see, this is my challenge. So they also did not have this facility of a prompter, but they understood my challenge and they allowed Anshul to have a prompter right at the entrance level to get into the college. And after that, also, they've always given him a prompter. So that really helped. And I had to really educate people. And then XRCVC, which is the center wherein all kinds of disabilities, the people there understood, because this guy would have a lot of behavior issues and he would do certain things which is not socially acceptable.
Appropriate.
So they would understand, but the faculty doesn't understand because they are not trained to understand. So I land up in the college every month with some issue or the other, and with the XRCVC support, I kind of go speak to the faculty, make them understand. And it's a journey. It's a journey. We solve one problem, something else comes up. So I'm like a regular feature in St. Xavier's Mumbai. I'm sure the security there also thinks I'm faculty. But yeah, it's okay. I have to educate people, so I'm okay doing it.
Couple of things that pop up as we speak. Could you explain the role of a prompter and how that works? Because I'm sure parents who are now coming and going to ask for that will need to understand that better. Could you explain what a prompter does? Is it somebody older, younger? How do they
So
help the
typically,
student?
typically, if you look at learning disabilities, so they give you a writer, right? And the writer
Yeah,
has to be younger than you. Okay, so
correct.
that is the norm. But when it comes to a prompter for somebody who's on the autism spectrum, the challenge the person has is he's not able to understand the question. If it's a direct question, or what question they will answer. Okay, but why? The moment you ask why and wherein, then they get confused. So you have to explain the question to them. So a person who is younger will not know the topic, right? So they can't this thing. So at least the person has to be a year older and is expected to have studied that subject. Only then the person can help. Here again, um, there's no expectation. Obviously, the person should not tell the answer, because the person who's on the spectrum, if the person has reached undergrad, that means the person is intellectually evolved. So you just need to explain the question, just give a little bit of cue, and the person gets it. So that's about it. So if your child is getting into college and is on the spectrum, autism spectrum especially, the ask should always be a prompter, and you should not settle for a writer. They don't need a writer unless the person has dyslexia or something that's different. So
Dysgraphia alongside autism spectrum, any learning
yeah,
disability alongside
yeah, different.
autism
Then you'll
spectrum.
need a writer and a prompter both. But if you
Yes,
don't, if you're only on the spectrum and you're intellectually evolved, you don't need a writer at all. My son never needed a writer. So yeah,
absolutely.
so
Yeah. So is a parent allowed to be a prompter?
no, parent
No,
can't
it
be a
has to be
prompter.
somebody from
It
the
has to be a
college.
student. It has to be a student,
Has
and
to be a student.
preferably a year or two older. I mean, not too older also. So
Understood.
they Xavier's has always kind of managed to get one or two students so to kind of come and prompt Anshul. Now we've reached a stage when he doesn't need a prompter. He doesn't really need a
That's
prompter.
fabulous.
He manages. And I'm not expecting him to get 90%. For me, even 50% is 90%. I mean, it's a huge challenge you're overcoming. And if you're able to do that, it's like really, really commendable.
Absolutely. I'm also a little surprised because Anshul, you're telling me, is 21, and he cannot possibly be the first autistic person or person on the autism spectrum to have walked into that college. And yet I see you having to advocate constantly, going back to the college and making these asks.
There are, it's no, he's not the first time, but every
Yeah,
person has different needs.
correct.
So every
Okay.
individual autistic person, so probably his needs are very different from what others needs were. Some of them were very, I mean, from whatever I understood, the students who they had in the spectrum earlier, they were not able to speak, they didn't have speech, they didn't have movement, and they would just come into experience college. Okay, so that was one category. They did have some of them who were actually again intellectually evolved, but they were very quiet people. So they didn't need so much of support. they would, this is a prompter. I'm sorry, I'm getting into the emotional thing now. He wants to really go and interact with people, have a social circle. And when in the bargain, he very often crosses the line and tries to intimidate the other person. So the other person doesn't have any knowledge about him. So they would give back or be rude to him. That led to a lot of aggression, actually. So he would come, and all the aggression would be at me because he doesn't know what to do. So the aggression would come on me. So which has reduced now, but it's still there. I won't say it's gone. So it's kind of a prompter or a buddy, I would say. Being part of the peer group really helps if they are understanding, and it really helps because Anshul had a prompter in college who would prompt him for his academics, who would be typically a year older, and he had a buddy who was his classmate. So initially, the buddy came and said that, Auntie, it's becoming too much for me because he's not leaving me. He's always with me. So I said, look, because he doesn't have friends, he's sticking on to you. That's it. So then we kind of had a system where there were 4, 5 buddies. Okay. But ultimately, it was that one boy who understood him, and he's still his friend. So even after graduation, they meet. Even in school, he ended up with just 1 or 2 friends who keep in touch. So that craving to have that social interaction is very high in him, but he does not know how to handle it. So yeah, so that is the challenge. So we are working on it every day. There's something new we try.
So, having to navigate Anshul's every day in a classroom, educating, advocating to faculty who are not trained for this situation is a lot for a parent. What is it that you'd like to tell them about it?
So to educate faculty, it requires intense training, and I recognize the fact that it is not easy for educational institutions to do that, and because they'll have to invest a lot of capital to do that. Okay, so to get a trained trainer who'll come and train them, so I'm not very sure whether most of the colleges have the wherewithal to do it. Okay, so that challenge has to be, and the management has to recognize that there are people with different needs who also want to come to our institution, and we need to do something to include them. Just saying that we are inclusive and just hiring a special educator or two doesn't work. You have to train your faculty, entire faculty, be it a school or a college. You have to train your entire faculty. So that is the need of the hour. And as a parent, I do whatever I can because I have to do it. I don't have a way. I don't have a choice. So I go and do it. So I keep telling the lady at XRCVC that why don't you have an orientation with your teachers, with your faculty, say every quarter? Orientation with your faculty as well as orientation with your students. She told me multiple times that each time we have told the students that it's an orientation, they don't attend the class. Okay, so she said that we have to find a way of saying that if you don't attend, we'll be deducting 5 marks from your thing. So I don't know whether they've ended up doing it, but yeah, but so that is how it is. And when it comes to faculty, the faculty is already burdened with so much work. They really are not able to make time for these kind of things. So it was if I were to share an anecdote which very recently happened. So they have 6 semesters in undergrad. In semester 5, he was supposed to show some bitmap and a crossword to his professor, and she was a lady professor. And they did not. I think it was not that important, that particular crossword. And she kind of said, "Okay, I'll see it next time." So, so next time was the semester was over. So next time was in the 6th semester. So after the college reopened. So when the college reopened, she was not teaching him anymore. And but this guy in his mind, because whatever, if something is in their mind, they have to do it. So that is how they are wired. He had to show that. And he would go and stand in front of the department. And the moment she would call him, he would run away because she's not teaching him anymore. And so he has social skills issues. He doesn't like eye contact, so he would run away. This kept on happening to a point wherein it looked as if he's stalking her. So, and then I tried explaining to her that he's not stalking you. So she's saying that, ma'am, when I call him, he's not coming. So it went on and on and on. And then the lady was going to have a baby herself. So she said that, ma'am, it's kind of affecting me a lot. I said, okay, leave it. I'll talk to him and I'll figure out a way. And I told Anshul that, you know, we have to leave her for at least a year. But he's not forgotten that he's got into MSc in the same college, sorry, and she's on maternity leave. So he wants to show that to her. Somehow or the other, it's still there, and I've not been able to talk him out of it. And it led to a lot of problems. Actually, he got angry with her and he wrote an abusive mail to her. And that went against Anshul completely because writing a mail to a lady professor was not understood. I mean, was not accepted. So yeah, so you get into these kind of bizarre challenges which you have to this thing. And this is a challenge I've not really, it's still not sorted because yeah, I have to deal with it. I have to bring about a closure. But his therapists tell me that you have to be firm with him and tell him that there's certain things you cannot do. I'm trying to do that. So these kind of situations faculty can manage and handle only if they are trained. If they are not trained, they can't.
A simple situation of asking a student to do something, and what we consider simple can escalate to such an extent that it
For
is
him, it's
taking
a big
so
thing.
much. Yeah, it's not just him. It has impacted him. It has impacted you and the
Yeah,
teacher.
yeah,
While if there was a certain training or understanding that was in place,
yeah.
that the teacher would know that this child will need to have that expectation needs to be met, and I need to handle it in a certain way, and have brought about the closure themselves, it would have been much easier. So, as you mentioned, these kind of problems are not something you can prepare yourself for
Every
on a
day it's a
singular
new
day.
problem which you would have never
Yeah,
imagined. You would have never imagined. So it's kind of, even when we travel. So this is
yeah.
something I wanted to kind of, he has a lot of travel anxiety. Again, because he doesn't like being touched. He doesn't like eye contact. So you take him to an airport situation. At the security check, the maximum anxiety happens. So I will tell you what happened I mean, now I've learned how to handle it, but I will tell you the difficult situation. We were on a holiday to the UK. This was 2 years back. And we were at the Heathrow airport. And this was we were coming back to Mumbai. There, they keep frisking you, right, at security. And so there was this lady officer who was kind of telling, she was laughing, open your jacket, open this, open that. And we were all smiling at her and laughing away because, I mean, that's what she has to do. So she was doing it. It was like a machine, she was saying, talking. So we did all of that. When my son's turn came, he opened his jacket, and when he opened, his t-shirt went a little up and his body started showing. And I don't know why that lady said, what's wrong with him? And he got angry and he shouted at the security, and he shouted so loudly that the entire airport came to a standstill. And he hit me there also because he had to take his anger out somewhere. So the whole situation became embarrassing. My husband, my older son, all of us were there, and this thing, so they were embarrassed, but I am used to all this, so I thought I dealt with it calmly, though I broke down. So but UK is a country where people are far more inclusive, so they could understand that there's something wrong, and they said that, I said, yeah, he's specially able. So they said, should we open a room for you? Do you want to calm down? I said, no, he's fine. And then after that, he forgot about it. So I learned my lesson there. We did give him a bit of medication to calm him down. But then also the problems were not solved, because what would happen is, if you see him, he doesn't really look abnormal. So in that panic, so we tell him that you have to stand in a queue and take those trays out and put your stuff into it and put it into the conveyor belt. So into that security thing, the X-ray machine, sorry. So there, everyone breaks lines, right? He's not used to. I've been told to stand in a queue. Everyone is breaking lines. So when everyone breaks lines, he also tries to pull out that tray. In the bargain, he would invariably push someone or stamp on somebody's feet, and they would scold him. Okay. And then I would be going and apologizing to them. So I said, now this time I have to be smarter. So we recently, the two of us, me and Anshul, went for a short holiday to Singapore. So we decided we will go 4 hours in advance. Okay. We had a 10 a.m. flight. We were at the airport at 6. Okay. And we checked in. Thankfully, the check in was open and there was nobody there. Okay. So we had the whole check in counter to ourselves. At security, we had it to ourselves. And then I had told Anshul that have been issues when you pull out the trail stamp. And can I do it for you? So he said, okay, do it for me. So he agreed. So we went in. After we go in, he's fine. He's very independent. He's extremely independent. He does everything on his own. So going to college on his own, he goes to cafes on his own, everything he does on his own. So after we crossed that security, everything was fine. So I have also found ways of dealing with it. But but it always starts with a very bad experience. Okay. Instead
Yeah.
of, and everyone will say, don't take him anywhere. Huh. I mean, that's not the solution, me not taking him anywhere. He has to lead a normal life, right? So, what is the best way to do it? So, you end up finding some solution or that. So, my solution to avoid the airport anxiety is to go well in advance. It's okay. I mean, I'll go and read a book or I'll watch a show on Netflix to while away my time because we end up sitting at the airport for a long time. He explores all the cafes in the airport. So it works out.
Interesting, because everybody has to find their own little tweaks of how to navigate life. But what you say is very important, that the ability to live a life completely and fully is the most important. And for us to make that happen for anybody, we think people are doing us a favor by aligning into our needs. But it's like today, it's so normal for a blind person to go and get educated. All you need is Braille. All you need is
And
for
their
somebody
disability is visible.
is visible. For
Yeah,
somebody,
yeah,
it's invisible.
yeah,
It becomes so difficult because the sensorial challenges and the social emotional challenges
yeah.
are a very tricky one to navigate. Yeah. I was imagining, Anshul, in a classroom like mine, because we used to have about 100 kids in Christ College for journalism, psychology, all of us together, everybody moving into a classroom, being touched, pushed. For somebody with autism, it is not easy to have or to just understand
It's
the
not.
things that are not spoken about, right? There are so many undersaid, understood instructions that are given on a day-to-day life. How do you find meaning into that? And training them becomes a very difficult part of your life. Right.
It does. I won't say that I found the perfect recipe for it, but it's all trial and error. But typically tell him what to expect. I said people may touch you. So he started one day, he said, I'm going by train. Okay, and the local train because my peers also, my classmates are coming by train. I want to go. I was like, my God. So because this guy doesn't like to be touched, and a train is all about pushing and jostling and all of that. So he told I said, my easy way is pass the buck on to my husband. I said, tell dad. So dad said, yeah, I'm traveling. I'll come back and we'll talk about it. And he would come back, he would get busy. So he would always say, I'm traveling, I'll come back, we'll discuss. Or after I come back from office, we'll discuss. And he would come back late and the discussion would never happen. Okay. And when he would again come back and ask me, I said, it's dad's call. Okay, it's if dad doesn't agree, I can't do anything. So it went on and on on for a few months. Then there was one last year. So I was traveling to Delhi and my husband was traveling somewhere else. Okay. And so when he steps out of the house, we ask him to send his location. So he sent his location. So both of us have clicked wherever he has clicked, and I was actually sitting in the Delhi airport taking a flight back home. I clicked and I could see train tracks there. So he's kind of written, sorry, I could not let you. I was not getting a cab and I had a lecture I couldn't miss. So I've taken a train and gone. And I was like, my heart sank and I was just going to board my flight. So I again called up Payal, said, Payal, can you track him and make sure he's reached college? So she did it for me. And then I came back home, and me and my husband decided there's no point scolding him. I mean, we have delayed kind of talking to him about it. So we can't do anything. As long as he's safe, it's fine. So we told him that you will be pushed, people will touch you. So we prepared him for it. I mean, we kind of told him. He never had a problem with train. As of now, he's not had a problem with train. He's going. But again, if somebody you come and touch him, he won't like it. He'll react. So
Talk about the aggression piece. You even very casually mentioned that he would hurt you. He
yeah.
hurts you.
Yes,
How
he
do
hurts
you?
me a lot, very often. Now it is the frequency has come down significantly, but it increased in COVID when we were all at home and he not going out. COVID was very tough for all of us, especially for him. A, he didn't have friends, and B, he was not able to go out because his way of calming down, keeping himself cool was going out for long walks and all of that, which was not happening. And then my elder son also was, I mean, he came back from college, he was also around. And yeah, so he would do certain things which the younger one was not able to do. So all that led to a lot of aggression. And his, I mean, his defense mechanism is come and kind of pinch me or hit me and go. And it had affected me a lot. I mean, emotionally, it had affected me a lot. I had to go for counseling, and that was the time when my dad was also ailing. So it was a very tough thing. With therapy, with I don't know how much it has helped, but after COVID, it has come down. But again, if there's a problem in college, if he raises his hands, I know that there's something happening. I do understand that he himself is going through a lot, but we had to put him on medication. We had to put him on a mild medication. And now each time that anger, but the problem with medication is once you give it, the dose increases. So now I've told him because I mean, I have now he understands everything. He knows that it's not that he does it at the spur of the moment, but he knows he's wrong. So he comes and apologizes. He understands that he's not it. He understands that he's different. He knows. He knows that he's on the spectrum very well. So I've told him that the onus is on you. I put the ball on his court. I said that you have to find a way to control your anger, and I don't want to medicate you. I think he's understanding. It has come down a lot. It is very situation based. It will not doesn't happen every day. It may happen once in 3 4 months, but it does happen. Tell him that one incident kind of puts you behind. You go back, all the development that happens goes back. And I don't want that situation to happen. I know it's not easy because the way they think is very different from the way they have their own normal. They have their own normal. So the triggers for the anger is very, very trivial. For us, it's very trivial. So again, that Singapore trip I talked about. So we went to meet. There were two friends I caught up with. Okay, and both of them were not really close friends, more I would say acquaintances. One of them who I had just met digitally, I mean on virtually sometime, and she lives in Singapore. She works with special people. So she said, like, I want to meet you and let's catch up and let's see what we can do together. And I said, okay, I'll meet. So I said, my son is also there, can I bring him? So he said, yeah, of course you can bring him. So I told Anshul that I'm meeting a friend. I didn't say that she's special. I mean, she works with special people. I said, I'm meeting a friend. So he said, okay, will she say hello to me? Will she say hi to me? Will she talk to me? I said, yeah, why not? So then he said his second question was, can I go and meet her alone? Can I go to it? It was the same mall which was close to the hotel we were staying. Can I go and meet her on my own? I said, yeah, go. So he went. So he actually reached there 10 minutes before I did, and he was having a perfectly normal conversation with her. Then I went and we spoke, and then that was one which was a big success. The second one, very nice person, but obviously she did not understand how to kind of deal with him. But I had told her, like, you have to, so there's a certain way you have to speak. According to him, you have to say, hi, Anshul, how are you? If you say, hi, how are you, he doesn't like it because that is how what he's used to. So you have to, so he gets irritated, that irritates him. So that's a trigger for anger, which is very trivial for us, right? We're not bothered.
It's just being acknowledged. He wants to
Yeah,
be seen
yeah,
and
yeah. So I told that
acknowledged.
lady that you have to greet him that way. So she did it. Then the next day we were supposed to meet, and she was supposed to take us out somewhere. So she gave us an address. We reached there, and she said, "Can you come to the 24th floor? My gym is there. I'm gymming, and Anshul will probably enjoy because he enjoys gymming." So we went there, and she generally asked him, "Are you feeling hot?" And he showed the middle finger. And I was like thoroughly embarrassed because I don't know her that well. Okay, I would have met her a couple of times before. So we went down, and when she was taking out her card, I asked her, "What happened? Why did you have to show your middle finger?" So he said, I thought she commented on my looks. I said, "She didn't say anything about your look. She just asked you if you're feeling hot." Then he said, "No, I'm wearing a hoodie, which is warm." So she would have been thinking why I'm wearing a hoodie. So she has indirectly commented on my looks. He doesn't like being commented on his looks. So I said, "No, she never commented on your looks. It was a hot day. So she asked you, I don't think she's realized that you've worn a hoodie." So when we got off the car, that is when he assaulted me, in the sense he pinched me and all of that. So that lady was taken aback, obviously. But then she was kind enough to say that you go and calm down, because I lost it there. So you go and calm down. I'll come back and I'll sit with him. I said, "Yeah, you can sit with him. He won't do anything." So he kind of was talking to her. And but after that, yeah, I think they have shared numbers, their mobile numbers with each other. After that, he was messaging her. He went on inundating her with messages, something or the other. So she said, "Look, it is affecting me. Can I block her?" I said, "Okay, block her." So block him. So I said, "Yeah, I understand, because he keeps inundating." So they expect immediate responses. They expect a certain way of speaking with them, which is not possible for everyone to do that. Not possible for everyone to understand that. So that is where the challenge, and when they get that, angers them, and they don't know how where to vent it out. So they vent it out. Typically, the mother is the victim, so they went it out on the mother because it's the easiest thing. They know the mother will always forgive. And this is one such incident. A lot of such incidents happen, and people block him a lot on WhatsApp and all, because he keeps. I mean, it is irritating. So he keeps sending messages all the time. So he gets blocked. Obviously, he feels bad about it. Then I have to request them and tell them that, make them understand it. Don't see his message. Don't, if there's anything urgent, anyway, I'll come back to you. So don't see his message, but please don't block him. That blue tick shouldn't come. If that blue tick on WhatsApp comes, he knows that you've read the message, and he will expect a response. Of course, at home I talk to him and say people will not, but he doesn't understand. He expects immediate responses. He has his own normal, and people he expects people to follow that normal. People don't want to follow that normal. So that is the challenge.
Explain how that works at home, because here you have a child who's crossing boundaries, who's getting physically abusive with, he cannot help it at a certain level. At the same time, there are two other men in the home who are also having to witness their mother, their partner getting assaulted. It seems very complicated, layered. How does your spouse manage? How does your older son
They come and
manage?
protect me, of course. They kind of hold. My older son is, he's scared of my older son. My older son really holds him tight, and he said that you can't do this to mom. He's saying, my husband tries to explain. But um when it comes to home like situations, we all know how to talk to him, right? We all know what he likes, what he doesn't like. So it's not so much of a problem. The aggression happens only if something has happened outside. No, it's nothing to
New
do with us.
scenarios, new situations,
Yeah, yeah,
unexpected
yeah. Only
things.
then, because he can't do. Not, I mean, he can't do much outside, so he comes in. He gets into trouble also outside. At times with cab guys, this that they don't understand him, and they would say something, and Ada hai kya, Ada in
Yeah, yeah, of
yeah,
course.
is
Mm.
thing. So he doesn't like. So he's pinched someone. All that have also happened, and they would say so. It goes on and it goes on, but that doesn't mean that you stop living. You have to kind of ways. And yeah, I'm just all the time trying to find new ways of working around it. That's it. So so it, yeah, does affect me emotionally, but yeah, now I'm used to it, and my goal is to make him absolutely normal, and I'm confident I'll do it. I mean, I'm not saying normal as in absolutely normal. If you're on the spectrum, you can't be absolutely this thing, but bring him to a situation where he can manage without us.
Yeah. Mukta Kalra has been talking about that on Instagram very recently, where she made a comment that once on the spectrum, there is no cure. And that has brought a lot of anger and angst as to how can you say that. But it is very important for parents also to have realistic expectations of what their child is capable of and what their child is not. And I don't think it's about neurodivergent children itself. It's about children, just any child. For one, you may not be great at maths and you want them to do engineering. That would be a ridiculous ask. But at the same time, somebody wants to be an artist or probably gender fluid, while you have an expectation that this is my son and you have the role of a son. So these arguments can happen. It's a lot about our expectations. What would you say to bringing in empathy? Little things that you have mentioned, your older son and his friends, giving him the time. Because what I'm hearing is a lot of need for attention and social engagement, which is somehow missing. And the fight is for just to be seen and
Heard and
understood and
understood. Yes.
engaged with. And that is where the gap is. And that is a systemic gap. How do you think we could make it different?
By talking about it. By talking about it on forums such as yours, talking to whoever we meet. There's no need to think that this is a stigma. And if anybody looks at me, the moment I very openly tell them that I have a child with disabilities, I mean, intellectual disabilities. And the moment they look at me with sympathy, I don't need their sympathy because he's not abnormal. I mean, he's absolutely okay. So he has certain challenges. We have to deal with it. So I tell them, I mean, there's nothing to say sorry about it. A lot of people say, we're so sorry. So I said, there's nothing to say sorry about it. You should learn to embrace them. So, yeah, so and talk about it as much as possible. I kind of, I very openly talk about it. I mean, I have no qualms, and a lot of parents do reach out to me actually for help. And yeah, I talk to them and I tell them how to deal with it and things like that.
How do you build a community? Like, I'm imagining, is there a community that you turn to with other parents of children on the
I
spectrum?
don't.
Does that help?
I'm not part of any community, to be honest. But whoever I meet, I talk to them. So I have my own friends who are. I have. I mean, my friends from school and college who we are very. I mean, we've all grown up together. They play an important role in helping me deal with this. So the same thing I was telling you know, he keeps inundating them with people with messages. So he does that to them also. They also initially didn't understand. They would block him. Then I explained to them and I told them that, you know, you just set up very realistic goals, you know, realistic expectations. Tell him that, you know, I can only talk to you for a long extended period for a month, once in a month. I can reply to your messages, say maybe twice a week. And we've been doing all of that and it's helping. So, you know, you can't tell the entire world to work as per his terms. So, but there are some people you can tell, and I tell them. And I tell them, and I don't go to places where I know he won't be accepted. So I just don't go there. So I have nothing against those people. I'll go on my own. But there are certain places they just don't understand. So there's no point going and torturing yourself and torturing your son. So I don't go to those kind of places. When it comes to holidays, yeah, we are very choosy. We never go and stay with families, with friends, because we don't know, you know, what to expect over there. We go to a resort or something, we spend a few days and come back. So that's how we do. And that's actually good for him because he loves to trek. He's very fond of physical activities and all of that. He does all of that. And we allow him to go and, you know, eat whatever he wants to, order whatever he wants to. He does it on his own. He likes to go on his own. He doesn't like to go with us. I mean, if we are staying in a hotel, the breakfast he would like to go on his own because he wants to explore on his own. So last year we went Bangalore for a wedding, and both me and Anshul went a day earlier, and he wanted to explore. So I said, okay. I said, as long as you give me your location, you go wherever you want to. We stayed in a hotel on MG Road, and which was central. So he would give my location. Suddenly, I would find him on Brigade Road, Cunningham Road. I said, oh God, what's happening? And if this guy gets into trouble, what do I do? A very dear friend and a colleague, Rukmini, I called her. She's from Bangalore. So I told her, can you please come and sit with me in the hotel because I can't move out from here till this guy comes back or till my husband comes in, checks in, because my husband was coming in a day later. So she came and she sat with me. And this guy was exploring, and but he will not say hello to her because for him she's a stranger. So I will not say hello to her. I said, yeah, you don't need to say anything, just let her be with me. So kind of, yeah, he was exploring. I've allowed him to explore and do what he wants to.
Navigating the relationship between siblings, how has that been and how complicated has that been for you?
When they were younger, it was easier. Now there's a bit of distance because on one hand he has gone his own way. I mean, his career, his when he's around, he's very caring. He's extremely caring. He knows that after us he has to take care of him, so he's absolutely aware of it. But as an older sibling, he tries to boss over, which is natural, which the younger one doesn't like. So he wants to stay away from him because he wants to do his own things. So even when it comes to interacting with friends, he no longer wants to interact with Ayush, my elder son's friends. He wants to kind of interact with people completely out of that spectrum. So he's, yeah. So, so it is a little complicated, but I think Anshul is also in his adolescence and he's also dealing with a lot of things. I'm sure we'll tide over that. But actually, if he wants, I mean, if he wants anything, he wants to buy anything and he knows we will not give it to him, he goes and asks his brother. So all the late night ordering and all happens with his brother is working now, so he can afford it. So he buys it for him. So there's a lot of fondness between them, but in terms of interacting with each other, it has come down drastically now because the younger one, the neurodivergent one, wants to be on his own. He wants to have his own normal. He wants to do things the way he wants to. So it's not that they have drifted away or anything, nothing of that.
Are you balancing? You made a statement that everyone must have a career, must have something of their own alongside. How do you create that space for yourself? And how do you ensure you have a lot of drama, for the lack of a better word, that happens on a constant level? You have to run to college, you have to navigate conversation, check the map constantly, make sure he's there, he's safe, he's all right. How does this take a toll on you? And how are you balancing that?
I must tell you, work is therapeutic for me. And all the travel that I do is, that is my way of getting some time for myself. So that's how I balance. That's how yeah, it's become a way of life. It doesn't matter to me now. So, but the day I'm told not to go to work, I'll go mad that day. So it's work is really therapy, and I've just been lucky to get fabulous colleagues, fabulous friends, who I can pick up the phone and talk to anytime I want to. And I write a lot on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So, yeah, so even when I go and meet organizations, I talk to them about my experience. And, I do my next journey. I would like want even organizations to be inclusive enough for people like Anshul. It has already started, but I think there's a long way to go. Can I just pause for a moment?
Of
Yeah,
course,
yeah.
of course.
This is Anshul. He's gone to some cafe and he wants to have an americano, so he wants money. Just transfer it to him.
Ajita, what are the things that have helped you and you can give as advice to other mums of children on the spectrum who are navigating such a complex life?
Do what you love doing, because that will kind of that'll divert your attention. It'll help you to get some me time for yourself. Having me time is extremely important, extremely strong, extremely important. Stop feeling guilty that if you take your me time, you're neglecting your child. No, you're not. That's the only way you can help being sane and maintain your sanity. So these are the two things: do what you like and love yourself. Don't feel guilty.
Absolutely. And organizations, how do they? Because now, to a certain extent, when we look at education, we are still on protected grounds. It's safer grounds to some extent. I wish it was far, far more safer for children with neurodivergence or disabilities. But at the end of the day, when you go into a corporate world or into the working world, it's far, far more difficult for them. From your experience and what you have seen across the world, what are some of the things that organizations can do to make it better for people like Anshul coming into the organization?
Again, invest in training. So they, just as they are investing in training to sensitize their employees to work with a colleague who's from the LGBTQAI community, or who's somebody who has physical disabilities. And it's I think I may be wrong, but I think it'll be a tad easier to do those sensitization programs. But rather than sensitizing them to work with a neurodiverse person whose behaviors and whose reactions you can never expect, but but there are quite a few of them now who have neurodiverse needs rather. So to work with them, again, you need to sensitize. You have to invest in training your employees. I mean, there has to be concerted focus on that. Otherwise, it's not going to help. So everyone says that we are open to hiring people who are on the autism spectrum, people who are Down syndrome. Yeah, but are you able to retain them? Is my question. No, they're not able to retain them. They exit the workforce because they just don't know how to deal with them. So it has to be, I think it has to be the leader of the organization who has to have that mindset of truly building an inclusive workforce wherein you have people from all, because some of these people are really talented, and in this era of data and AI, you can really use their talent to your advantage. To give you an example, my son is extremely good with numbers. Okay, extremely good with numbers. And he has this kind of talent wherein, suppose you tell him that my birthday is 6th of September. Can you tell me which day of the week was 6th of September 1950? Within fraction of a second he can tell you, and I really don't know how he does it. So these are small things in this world of AI and data. You never know, they may just come in handy for an organization, and they can really make the most uh, out of it. So small things like allow them to being themselves, in the sense they may not like to be part of a big group. Okay, allow them to sit on their own wherever they want to. Message them if you want to convey um, something important to them, instead of calling them, because they don't like eye contact. Okay, and message them. Texting them is a great way of communicating with them till you know that they're comfortable with you and they won't mind a face-to-face interaction. So I actually was sitting in a psychiatrist's clinic some time back, and I saw a boy walk out of the, not a boy, a man, a young man walk out of the office. He paid, he called for his cab on his own. And the way he was doing it, I could make out he's differently able. I was just admiring him. And when I got in to the psychiatrist's office myself, he was saying that boy who just stepped out, he's working for some organization, and his complaint is nobody talks to him. So that must be so humiliating. Nobody talks to him, and nobody talks to him because they don't understand how he is. So his thing is, nobody takes me. They go out for lunch, they go out for a smoke, nobody calls me. There has to be some way, right? You have to include them. So unless you're trained, unless you're sensitized, oh, there's no way you can retain those people.
The reason I spoke about having a community is for the same piece, because it is very isolating. Parenting itself is isolating, and then parenting a child with neurodivergence is exhausting. And to be able to explain certain things, and then these children with neurodivergence, these adults with neurodivergence, it's always, how long do you communicate? How long do you navigate? And how much can Ajita do for Anshul? At some point of time, the community has to step up and say, I take responsibility as well. I am your buddy and I will see and step in. And it's not easy. Marriage isn't easier, but everyone's getting married every day. So, these are things that we just need to normalize more and more. And
Absolutely.
yeah,
Absolutely. We need to normalize. When you talk about a community, how about having a community which will have neurodivergent people as well as
And you,
neurotypical. I would ideally prefer a community which will be a mix of both. I think that is where they can thrive. I mean, they can
yeah,
blossom.
yeah. What is the hope? What
Always
is the hope?
hopeful. I'm always hopeful. I'm confident that I will come out of this with flying colors. So I don't
Absolutely.
like anyone telling me, I don't like anyone showing me sympathy or saying that, kya hoga, what is going to happen next? What is going to happen will happen, can't do anything about it. So this thing, I'm already wanting to take him for the next holiday. He wants to go on his own. So I said that we have to find a way of controlling this anger and not reacting if people say something which because you don't like listening to it. I mean, what they are saying is not wrong. So we have to work on it. Let's work on it and get out of it so that you can go for a holiday on your own. I want to send you. So I keep telling him, all,
Ajita, one last question for you. You know, we always have an expectation of Ajita stepping in or the mother stepping in and making that balance. And we are always telling our child, hold it in, rein it in, behave in a certain way. What would it be if you could tell the 30 other children in the classroom, or the parents of the 30 other children in the classroom, or in the workforce? What is it that you would like them to know today? What is it that you would say to the neurotypical people about engaging with the neurodivergent?
be sensitive, but don't be sympathetic. If you think they're doing something which is not right, be frank with them. They will understand. Don't kind of ignore them, ignore something which they are doing wrong because you're sympathetic towards them. They don't need sympathy, they need empathy. So, but be sensitive at the same time. So, to give you an example, Anshul has this habit. His tutor used to come home, and each time he would come, he would stand outside in the balcony. And the moment the tutor would come, he'll go and press the lift button. We live on the fifth floor. The tutor will go to the seventh floor and again come down. The tutor was finding it funny initially. Then after that, he didn't like it. So I told him, I said, I mean, that time he was 19 or 20. So I said, the boy, the 4 year old on the fourth floor, if he does it, people will find it funny. If a 19, 20 year old does it, nobody will find funny. Okay. I said, if you want to be respected by people, stop doing it. So he stopped doing it with the tutor. So now if the tutor comes, he'll sit in his room quietly and then the tutor comes. Now he has a yoga instructor coming in. So he started doing the same thing. I said, why are you doing it? I'm doing it for fun. So yoga instructor also said that, nahi theek hai ma'am. I said, nahi theek nahi hai. It's not okay. Okay. I mean, he's not supposed to be doing it. Please be very firm with him. So it's very important to be firm with them because they're very manipulative. They'll take you for a ride. So please don't be sympathetic, be empathetic, be sensitive, but again, don't ignore them. I mean, don't kind of ignore them first because you have sympathy for them. And when an act repeatedly keeps happening, you block them after that. They don't need that. Just be firm with them. They are like any of us. It's just that yeah, they're wired slightly differently. But all of us have some, neurodivergent trait, don't we? We all have. I mean, if we look into ourselves, all of us have. So,
Yeah,
so
all
that's
of us have our own little quirks,
idiosyncrasies.
and
Yes, we do. All of us have
yes,
our own idiosyncrasies. So
yes, yeah.
that's about it.
And the world is better because we're all there together and we contribute in our certain
Yeah,
ways. Yeah. Thank you so much for
my
being
pleasure.
so candid about
Pleasure.
your struggles and so transparent about it. And I hope more and more women who hear these conversations, if nothing else, continue to hold on to their roles, their jobs, and
Absolutely.
find more support structures for themselves so that they can navigate this life and struggle in a more balanced way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you
Thank you
so
so much,
much.
Ajita.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having me.